with model looks and a comedian's sense of humor. He was an artist, an athlete, an amazing son, and he was his brother's best friend. I used to look at those boys and I would tell them all the time, you guys, you're the guys I always wanted to be when I was growing up. You're just phenomenal. I'm so proud of you. And I meant every word. G loved to shop. His poor mother would take him thrift shopping and spoil him rotten. It didn't matter what he picked off the rack, he rocked it, right? Like, we're talking job lot t-shirts, and he would come out like looking like that thing was Gucci or something. He was awesome. He just carried himself like a rock star. I remember walking through the halls when I would have to go pick him up from school, or sometimes get him out of the principal's office, and people would just shout his name out, and there's high fives, and I'm like, what the hell is going on around here? Like, this dude, he's the man, he's the big man on campus, and that's my son. It's like surreal. Come on, phone. But he wasn't perfect. In fact, he was perfectly imperfect. He loved to test me, like any teenager tests his parents. He'd get into some mild trouble at school now and then for doing something he shouldn't have been doing. We spent a lot of time in Mr. Van Gilder's office. Me trying to talk him out of trouble, him just charming his way through the whole situation. He was experimenting with marijuana as much as we tried to keep that away from him and tell him your young brain isn't equipped to handle that stuff. But he was going to do what Garrett wanted to do. And that was part of what made him so beautiful. He had a quiet side at times, which concerned me. A lot of parents, you just think, hey, he's a teenager, just going through some stuff. He liked to keep his friendships personal and private at times. A year before we lost Garrett, he threw up a red flag when he told a girlfriend that he didn't want to live anymore. Thankfully, the girl told her mom, who told his mom, who told me. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, and this is part of the stigma that surrounds suicide. I was mad. I was angry. I didn't understand it. He didn't show any signs of depression or anything like that. So I just thought it was like a stupid thing for a kid to say. And I was ignorant. So we took him, not taking any chances, to a mental health facility at Ellis Hospital, where they took him overnight. They did release him the next day, and he would spend the next several months with a counselor. And over time, he just felt like he was just repeating himself over and over again. So as a family, we're like, he's good to go. It was just something dumb that he said. And our focus turned to his brother, who was going through some medical issues himself, and kind of just took it for granted that he was fine. You know, when you have a red flag like that, that's the burden that you carry, right? What could I have done different? Why didn't we see this coming? You carry that forever. We ask ourselves every day, how did it happen? How could it happen? Who was he going to become? You didn't just lose the child you had, you lost the man that would have been. And then, as a parent, you feel personally responsible for every heart Garrett broke that day. And every time someone came into our home in the aftermath of losing him, I recognized the courage that it took to walk up to that door, ring the bell, and be there for each other. It's a tremendous amount of courage. And I apologize to all of them, and I still do with these guys today, even though they're men now. See, G never wanted to hurt anyone. He would never hurt anyone. But in one act, he changed all of our lives together, not just the lives of his family and his friends, but their parents. See, that morning of July 9th, I was having a really good day. It was a beautiful day, the sun was shining. His brother and I had just got back from the gym. I texted Garrett for what would be the last time. Today's a great day. Get all your friends over here, no excuses. We're gonna hit the pool, I'll make you guys lunch, we'll have just a great day out of it. He didn't respond. And then the call came. See, our neighbor Ronnie worked for the town sheriff's department. And he was on the phone, he said, "Lance, you have to get over here. He's gone. I couldn't save him, he's gone." I could hear Laura sobbing in the background. This was real, this was really happening. I hung up, I screamed over and over again, you can't do this. No, you can't do this. And I just screamed that out over and over and over again as I drove myself to his mother's house. And as I make the turn down the street, I see EMS in the driveway. I see Laura, I see the neighbors, and it was real. I asked EMS, "Can I see him?" "No, sir, you don't want to do that." "I feel like I have to." "No, you don't want to do that." So as we sat in his neighbor's backyard, just in utter shock and awe, my thoughts quickly shifted to his brother, who was at the school, and how fast word would get out, either through social media or text. And it was like a race to get to the school to tell him what had happened before he found out from somebody else. I pulled him out of school, looked him in the eye and said, "We lost your brother last night." He said, "He did it?" I said, "Yes." He just was stunned. We sat in the car, just stunned, driving back to my house. When we got back to the house, people just started showing up. The principal of the school, the vice principal, members of the sheriff's department, friends, family, teachers, counselors. It would be a sign of things to come. Now, what would happen next is what I want to talk the most about. See, sometimes it's hard to accept love in your life because it shows you how vulnerable you are. But in that moment, it wasn't about us anymore. It was about everyone. And what we did was allow our friends and family and community to help. And help they did. The outpouring of love and compassion, the shared experience that we all have here standing today, carried us. We had our hearts smashed into a million pieces. But love brought us all together. It didn't last for a day. It lasted for weeks, months, and here we are 3 years later, and it still is carrying us. Love helped us through. Love helped us heal old wounds. It helped us bury hatchets and be there for each other. No drama, just pure love. Everything was impossible at this point, from making the arrangements to doing something no parent should ever do, write an obituary for your child. Everything was simply impossible. Looking for a place for the wake and the funeral where we knew hundreds and hundreds of people would show up. Each decision was devastating, but our community gave us the one thing at the time we needed most. That was hope. The wonderful people at St. Edward's Church in Clifton Park came together with the priest from my Armenian church, Father Stepanos. They opened their doors to us and allowed us to grieve together. The friends at my gym gave me a sanctuary for 1 hour a day just to do something for myself so it didn't explode. I think more tears lie on that floor for me than all the other years combined. Oh, God. But I'm grateful for their support and their continued support. Many of them are here today. See, during the eulogy, Father Stepanos said that the community acted collectively as the yoke in which we would all carry this burden together, taking a little bit of weight off of each of our shoulders. He couldn't have been more right. As we stand here today, I feel the same energy. We stand here today to collectively carry the burden and just take a little bit more off of each other's shoulders. When you lose someone to suicide, you're constantly asked how you are. Garrett's mom and I talked about this the other day. You ask yourself, how do you keep going? Little questions are hard to answer sometimes. Like simple things. When a stranger asks me, how many kids do you have? Do I say one or do I say two? And that's where you break through the stigma. The answer is always two. I just happened to lose one to suicide. And that's a hard reaction to receive sometimes. But once you get out there and you talk about it, and the more you talk about it, the more you realize you're not alone. That everyone we know has been touched by this. And I think you talk about it because people need to hear it, so that they know it's okay to talk about it. A lot of people say I'm strong. I am not strong. I just don't know what else to do. I get by because I live for my son, Lance Miles. I get by to honor my son, Garrett. I'm still a father, and I still have to be there for my son and my loved ones. I get by because in spite of all the heartbreak and tragedy, I still know there is so much more to live for and love for. When I wake up every day, I know something good is going to happen that day. I know when you're looking for it, you're going to find a silver lining every single day you wake up. And I'm asking everyone, when they see that, to pause, to recognize it, to appreciate it. And then tomorrow, it's going to happen again. And the day after that, it's going to happen again. So, I think Teddy would agree. I asked him if he wanted to say anything. There's no way, right? What he said to me was, you know, Lance, it never gets easier. It just gets further and deeper into your memory. He's there. His boys are his best friends. Garrett lives on through them. Garrett lives on through all of us. He's here with us now. Many of his friends that graduated this year have made the trip. Many more were unable to make it. Garrett's had some songs written about him and recorded about him that are just freaking beautiful from his friend Katie Lee. So, in closing, when I walk with you here today, I just want you to know that you're not alone, that you are loved, that you make a difference in being here. And when you walk away today, share the story of your experience today. Do something good for someone else. There's hope and there's love. Thank you for the honor of speaking today. Thank you very much.